1.3 seconds, in fact, on the clock. It goes back to Higgins. Higgins has scored! And then Higgins has scored! That's the winner! Australia's won the gold medal! Australia's won the gold medal! Evan Higgins has landed a goal with 0.5 of a second on the clock. What a win! The crowd's gone bananas! The crowd's gone bananas! The umpires are still looking. Have they awarded the goal? Don't tell me they haven't awarded. Yes, they have! Yes, they have! Australia wins. Evan Higgins the hero. Australia 4, the United States 3.
G'day guys and welcome back to another episode of the Takin It Easy podcast. Today we have an ex-Olympian, an ex-gold medalist for water polo. And it's kind of funny because, you know, we have had the Olympics in Tokyo just happened recently. The 2020 Olympics. We're going to take a step back to the 2000 Olympics. Bronwyn Smith, lovely having you on. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully I'm not an ex-gold medalist. I still call myself just a normal gold medalist.
A gold medalist, yeah.
A gold medalist, no, exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so you're up in Northern Territory at the moment, quarantining?
That's right. I'm in Howard Springs with a lot of other athletes and then staff are at the Olympics. So
Yeah.
I think we're on about day 6.
Day 6. So, well, that's 2 weeks of just locked inside?
Yep, 14 days. We're actually a little veranda here, so we're lucky we can go outside. But
That's
if you go outside, you have to put your mask on and you can't walk down the steps or you get quite a large fine. So we can walk to the laundry and back. I think it's better than a hotel because we can chat to each other on the balcony and we can walk to the laundry. We can get some sun. But still,
it's hot up there, right?
Yeah, it's like in the afternoon on my balcony, it's 37 degrees. So kind of,
it's funny because we're in the same country and it's like the middle of winter, but
yeah, it's bizarre. I would hate to be here in summer.
Yeah.
No, no. So how was the Olympics over in Tokyo, that whole experience?
Yeah, it was great, actually. I really enjoyed it. Just to be, I think it's such a long build up to this Olympics, 5 years and so much doubt that it was even going to happen. So to get there finally, it was really exciting. And just to have all the other athletes around in the Australian team was just fantastic. And compared to being at the Olympics I competed in, I think we're just in this high-rise building and the whole team seemed really together, the whole Australian team, not just the water polo team. So we're mixing with all the other sports and we had a great setup. The Australian Olympic Committee put together and we had a barista and a great sort of area we could all mingle and it was just awesome. A really great atmosphere to be there, even though it was a bit strange at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your role in that, Bronwyn? Like, what was your role for
I'm the
water polo
operations
team?
manager of the women's program. So I was there as the women's manager and the sort of the team leader of the water polo team.
Wow, there you go.
Oh, awesome. So it's like, like taking 20 years back to when you were in the Olympics to now, is it very different or is it kind of like the same atmosphere? Because I know obviously there were like no fans, so it would have been a bit difficult for the players as well.
It felt similar, the whole layout of it and how the village works and the food hall and the competition and the warm-up hall and all those things felt very similar. But I guess having no crowd was really strange. And I was sitting in the stands with about 3 people. So on the first game, I felt this feels really unreal. Like I don't feel like I'm at the Olympics. But the more it went on and the more medals we won, for example, in the swimming or whatever, you sort of, it was the Olympics. It was a very different atmosphere.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think the players felt it as much as I did because I was sitting up there, but I think they were focused on their game.
On their game. Yeah,
for sure. Because I know I had one of my friends actually go over for diving in the Olympics and I saw on one of his videos he sent me that the food hall was extremely strange. You had glass barriers in front of you, next to you, all over the place. What was that like?
Yeah, it was weird, but I don't know, just like anything with masks and all the rules we have now, you just kind of got used to it. But it was strange and we were told you had to eat really quickly because the longer you're in the food hall, the more risk you could be of being a close contact. So originally when we were going, they were saying, if you go to the food hall, you get your meal, sit down, get out of there in 15 minutes, or you could be someone next to you has COVID, then you could be a close contact and then you're out of competition. So,
did you guys have to get tested like multiple times?
Yeah, we got tested every single day.
Far
out. See, I mean, I got tested once and I thought it was a violation of my nose.
Yeah, it was a different kind of test. We had a saliva test, so it was pretty gross. Okay. We had to all spit into a tube every day, which got taken away. And then if that came back with a positive, then they'd do the proper nasal swab.
Yeah.
Oh,
test.
okay. Okay. There you go. Fun experience though, it seems like. Still, like, the Olympics is always such a fun time. Like, everyone enjoys it. I mean, I loved watching it this year. It's the girls, especially for the swimming, did absolutely amazing. How was the water polo? I actually didn't see the women's water polo. How'd they go?
Not as well as we would have liked. We unfortunately lost to Russia in the quarterfinal, so that was disappointing, just by one goal.
It's a shame.
But at the same time, as much as I feel like we could have been in the medal rounds, it's a pretty hard ask when we haven't been able to play any competition for the last 18 months at all.
Yeah,
We've just
for
been
sure.
training amongst ourselves. So I think if we had probably had some games and a few tournaments up our, sleeves, I think we would have definitely got a medal. So it was pretty disappointing. The girls are really shattered about it because we definitely have the potential. But I think once you get into a full-on international game, your first game you've played in 18 months, it's pretty strange and hard to be
adapt.
used to that intensity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would know it's so harsh, the Olympics, because it's such a long build-up and you can just see it all just end so quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for us, we had an easy round game with South Africa, so we were guaranteed really to get to the quarterfinals no matter what. So really it all was around one game, and that quarterfinal can just sort of shatter your dreams. Luckily, though, we fought back and we won all our games after that. We ended up in 5th position, so that was good. It's good to leave on a win, not on a loss.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And I know, like, I mean, you've been my water polo coach for many years, and I know that a lot of those Balkan countries, they are. Well, why do you think they seem to be like on the top every time? Because I know Serbia, Croatia in the men's, and you got Montenegro, Russia, and everything in the women's. Why do you think they always seem to be so consistently winning?
I don't know. I just think it's a high profile sport there. I think, I'm not sure, but I just feel like everyone there seems to know about water polo and to play water polo, and we just don't have that in Australia, and we don't have the numbers, and they seem to go, it's just sort of a way of life there with their pools. Like, all our pools are busy with swim squads, and it's really hard to get pool time. Whereas I feel like in those countries, they finish school at 3:00, they go to the pool for 3 or 4 hours every single day and train. And I don't know. It's just their culture.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I mean, I reckon let's go all the way back to the beginning. Were you like born near the water? Were you a water girl when you were growing up, or like how'd you kind of get into the water polo and stuff like that? Yeah.
So I grew up near Dom Fraser Pool. So we were always going down there, and as you know, it's a huge water polo community there, and it's a big part of being at the pool. So also my family, my uncle went to 2 Olympics, and my cousins have been to Olympics. Taryn went to Olympics with me, so it's a bit of a family theme going. And as soon as I got of age, I just started playing. So I didn't really start with swim squads or anything like that. I just love the water polo, and then the swimming part had to come because it's part of playing water polo. You've got to swim.
With women's water polo, because when I watch like men's water polo, and even Rowan tells me it's such an aggressive sport. You see like what happens underwater, and people are tussling and like doing all these things. Is women's water polo, is it more like you feel tactical, more elegant to watch, or is it still got that like aggressive aspect to it?
No, it's pretty aggressive, I guess, to watch. It doesn't, when you're playing, it doesn't feel that bad, but I think it can look bad when they've got the underwater cameras and you can see all the grabbing and the kicking. But I don't know, it's just part of the game. And I think under the water, it's less impact than as in the air, I guess. So a kick underwater might look really bad, but it doesn't actually hurt us.
So they've got underwater cameras to like give away fouls and stuff like that.
Well, no, the referee can't see it. It's more of a television thing.
Oh, okay.
That's just what people say.
Entertainment.
Above the water, I guess the problem with women's water polo, we do have the swimsuits, and you can just see people being held and pulled and so on. But
I mean, I definitely think that the women's water polo, all the games that I've watched with all the girls and everything, it's like looks 10 times more aggressive. They got the nails, they got everything going on. It's insane. But I mean, water polo is it's one of those sports where it's pretty even. Like the girls team are freaking amazing, and so is the guys team. What do you think? Is there like a state that you reckon produces like the best players out of Australia, or is it just kind of like pretty even around the track?
I think in women's water polo, it's always been sort of New South Wales, Queensland and WA who have been the strongest, have the biggest programs. At the moment, only Queensland and New South Wales have the state institutes have programs. So they have a much better training program, you know, sort of 13 sessions a week, full-on programs, which of course we produce better players out of that. If you've got a state like South Australia where there's nowhere to train and, you know, I mean, they have training, but it's just not the same level. So yeah, I think New South Wales, I think just has the numbers and we have a big school program. And Queensland are particularly strong in the women, not as strong in the boys water polo. I'm not sure why. But yeah, I don't know with Queensland, maybe it's just there's so many pools there and swimming's such a huge thing in Queensland.
I didn't realize. Oh wait, we always have this problem. I didn't realize till recently that that I actually had a cousin who plays in the Australian water polo team now.
Who?
Aiden Roach.
Oh really? Is he your cousin?
Yeah, he's my cousin.
Did you watch him play?
I did. Yeah, Rowan and I watched him play. We watched us get obliterated by was it Serbia?
Croatia.
Or Croatia. One of those teams.
Yeah,
they're just.
I think
insane.
it was Serbia. They beat Croatia.
Yeah. We did beat one of the teams, right?
He's a great player.
Yeah, one of the.
You should be very proud.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, Bronwyn, where do you think was your first like high level experience playing water polo? Like, obviously you need 100 years to be able to like train to get up to that level. But where did you kind of start, like taking it kind of a bit seriously?
I guess I just started making the normal rep teams that lots of kids make, like the state school team and then Australian schoolgirls and under 20s. But I guess it was when I made my first. Back when I played, you had state senior teams and we went and played nationals and that was a big thing. So I guess when I made that team, I was probably 17, 18. And then after that, I got selected in an Australian squad and it was more of a development team because that year was a year after, I think, a world champs or something like that, a beginning of a cycle, if you know what I mean. So they took some younger players. So that was kind of the beginning and getting to travel overseas for, I think we went on a 7-week tour to Canada and then to Italy and Hungary and Holland. And it was amazing. And I guess experiencing that, training every day, playing lots of tournaments, that was that's when it really started to, be serious for me. And I was only 18. So from there, it just went on and on. I played till I retired when I was 30, but I had my son Joel, I had him about 18 months off. Maybe even, so in between Sydney and Athens Olympics.
So you were in 2 Olympics, 2000 and 2004. How was it in 2004? Did you guys get a medal or?
We were 4th, so that was pretty disappointing because we just missed out on a medal.
But you got the gold.
Got the gold in Sydney, so that's good. But it just shows you the top 4 or 5 teams are really close, and anything can happen on the day. Like we could have easily had a bronze medal.
Did you feel that going in
the last 10 seconds?
Yeah. Did you feel as though like when you were going into that Sydney Olympics, having the crowd behind you, did that motivate you more? Did you feel that you were, the number 1 team to beat at the time, or do you feel like you were still a bit of an underdog going into it?
I think we were ranked about 2nd then, so we're definitely up there to get a medal. But having the energy of the crowd was just huge. Although it made you also feel very nervous. And to have the crowds we had, which had never been heard of before for water polo, at our gold medal game, there was 17,000 people.
Wow.
So that was just a lot, I just remember thinking, I can't even look up at the crowd.
How do you fit that around the pool? It's like, you go to like a cricket stadium or something, it's like, but around a pool, like 17,000 people, it's huge. Yeah,
well, there was the pool at Sydney Olympic Park, but it doesn't look like it looks now. They had a huge stand that just went up one side for the Olympics. So it definitely was an advantage being at home, just having everyone and all your family and friends around you and the excitement. So do
you feel like there was a bit of pressure on your shoulders though? Like we've got to do well, otherwise we're going to disappoint the country, or was it more of a motivating factor?
Oh, it was definitely it made you nervous for sure. There was a little bit of pressure. I don't know at the time Holland were the number 1 and they ended up bombing out and they didn't get a medal. So maybe the pressure was on them. And it was just really exciting. It was very, I just going out to that gold medal game, I just felt, I was shaking so much. I thought, how am I going to play this game? You just had to focus and take some deep breaths and get on with it.
What was your position, Bron? What were you playing?
I was like a right-hand side driver.
Okay.
Sweet. What was that? What was that whole like lead up to the Olympics? Like, how does it work? So do you get picked 4 years before the Olympics or 2 years and then be with the squad? Like, how does the whole process work leading into it?
I guess at some point you're just part of the Australian squad.
Right.
And then, I don't know when they announced it, it's too long ago, but we went up to Queensland for a camp for like 4 months. So I guess a few months before that, they selected the Olympic squad.
Yeah.
And then I think there was 20 of us, so we went up to the Sunshine Coast and trained for that whole time. And I think America came out and played us while we were there. And I don't know if we went away as well in the middle of that and competed somewhere. And then I think they cut it, made it 18, and then they did a further cut to 13 closer to the games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So water polo, is that like a 5v5? How many people are in the pool at one time?
No, there's seven on each side.
7 on each side.
Including a goalie.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And like in the Sydney Olympics, when you were versing all these big teams, how would you prepare like before going into the pool? Did you have like a certain routine? Would you like I hear from some athletes, they'd have to wake up and get up at this specific time and eat this specific thing. Did you have like a routine like that, or was it just I'm just going to wake up and do my thing?
Sort of, but I guess I'd always do things like I wouldn't eat too much because the nerves would just make me feel sick. So I'd eat quite plain foods on that day before I played, like Vegemite toast or something.
Yeah.
Just something that doesn't make me feel queasy. And I guess we'd always have a team meeting, and then we'd have our notes for the game and our tactics and notes on all the opposition. So I think you just sit down and go through that again. That's kind of a calming thing to do because it makes you feel like you're ready. You're prepared. Situation you're going to be in, and you know exactly who you're playing and what they're going to do, what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
So I guess doing things like that can actually just make you feel calmer because you're like, I'm ready to play this game.
Well, that's the beauty of modern day sport, right? You see these people, they study the opposition. So going into games, you felt more prepared. Is that what you're kind of trying to say?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like, well, with me, I've played like big games, grand finals and nationals and everything like that. And I feel like just being around your team that you've been around with for so long is also quite calming. I mean, with 17,000 people watching, not knowing like what you guys have been through, I mean, it would have been so much more calming to be there with the girls that you've trained with for months and months and months.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you're in the right team and you trust each other and you know that if someone's not having a great game, that someone else will stand up and have a great game, if that makes sense. So if I think when you've got a great team around you that support each other, and it is a calming effect. And if you just know that you're going to do your job, like as a right-hand driver, I knew what I had to do. Mm-hmm. And if it was to give a certain pass to someone, it was defend someone, and I had to do the swim up and I had to go to that position, you just did your job. Whereas in a club game, sometimes you might feel like you have to do everything. If you're one of the better players, you're like, I'll play centre back, I'll go to centre forward, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll take the shots. Like it's not like that in an Australian team. You've got your job, and you know that you've got some great players around you, and they'll stand up and do their job.
So being a right-hand driver, your role is to bring the ball up the field and to pass to the attackers. Is that?
I guess I'd always try and go on counter attacks. Just there was a change of position. I guess I was one of the faster swimmers in the team, so I'd try and try and get a break on the way back down into attack, or try and get the opposition kicked out, which is Rowan would know what I'm talking about there. That was sort of my job, and I guess to get in the right position and feed the ball to the right place and to drive and get people excluded.
So you have to be a good swimmer to be good at water polo, you feel, or is it something? Yeah,
definitely.
100%, bro. Yeah, I wasn't the greatest swimmer, but I still had to swim train so much, dude.
Is it like treading water and stuff like that? Because obviously you got to keep your head above the water.
There's a lot of that at training, but you have to do a lot of hard swim training as well to have the fitness level to keep playing and wrestling and shooting. And in a game, it's quite tiring. So the more swimming you do and the harder you swim, the more prepared you are for the game. But you also at training do lots of treading water and jumping and wrestling and those things at training to prepare.
Exactly right. So I mean, I know with a lot of sports, comes down to the semi-final is kind of more of an important game than, because you have to get to that grand final first. Do you remember what that semi-final was like for you guys? If you were in it, who you played, what that was like, the pressure going into that grand final?
Oh yeah, that was huge. That nearly felt as good as winning a gold medal. To get into the gold medal game was insane. and we played Russia, and we were down the whole game, so it was really stressful, and we knew we could beat them, but we ended up winning with 30 seconds to go.
Wow.
So that game was really emotionally,
that would have been
exhausting.
a euphoric feeling, surely, like to know that you've got the medal. To
know you got a silver or gold medal was just crazy, and we were on cloud nine. So to try and the next day, because when we played every day, whereas at these Olympics you play every second day, but to try and come down ready for a gold medal game the next day was pretty challenging.
Yeah, obviously, because you see the Olympics, it's very like tight schedule and stuff like that. Was that difficult to you, having such a fast turnover between games? Like, did you have time to recover?
I kind of like it actually better, to be honest.
Because you're like heads in the game, like.
Yeah, I don't know. And you just want to get on with it. And I don't know. I feel like at the Olympics now, it's every second day. It just feels really drawn out. And it's good in some ways, bad in others, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very true. So, I mean, after that semi-final, knowing that you guys, were guaranteed medal, I think you were playing USA in the grand final.
No, USA. Yeah.
Yeah, USA. So obviously, who did they play in the semi-final to get through?
They played Holland.
Holland. Oh, so that would have been a big upset. Holland.
Yeah, that was an upset, that game.
Yeah. So had you guys played USA in the group stages before going into the grand final, or was it just like a brand new team?
So that made you more prepared.
When we played, there was only 6 teams because it was the first time women's water polo was ever in the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
So we had to play everyone once.
Yeah.
And then, so everyone
felt prepared.
Quite easy to make, not easy to make the top 4 because not easy. Like, you still had to beat Canada and Kazakhstan. But so we played everyone, and Holland were the only team that beat us in the round games.
Mm-hmm.
And then Holland ended up getting beaten by USA in the semi, and we played USA in the gold medal game.
Yeah, and I mean, I've watched that game, and that game goes literally all the way down to the wire. There's like 10 seconds left when you guys scored. How was that game for you? Like singing the anthem in that gold medal match for 17,000 people, standing on the podium, getting into the pool. Like, what was that whole experience from the start? Yeah,
it was I can't even explain it. It was like it was surreal. It was like you're watching yourself outside of your body that was actually happening. But I guess, you just couldn't keep the smile off your face, and it was crazy. And the game was really tight. Like, it was a really low scoring game because maybe it was so loud in there because us playing at a home with a home crowd, it was just chaos. So it was hard to hear, and it was intense. So their final score was 4-3, so really low scoring game, and we won in the last 2 seconds.
Wow.
The last 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, we'll definitely put the clip up so everyone can see that. Oh.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like, after sealing that game, obviously coming down to the wire, is it an immediate rush saying, like, shit, we've won the gold medal, we're the best team in the world, or did it take a little bit just to process what actually happened?
No, it took a long time to process, really. I just remember feeling on top of the world, and you just could not stop smiling, and it was crazy. And it took quite a while. I still can't even believe, that we won the gold medal.
Yeah.
So
what meant the most to you? Was it the actual medal itself, or how proud you'd made yourself and your family, and how hard together you may have worked as a group to get this gold medal? What, like, when you came out of the Olympics, what meant the most to you?
It's definitely not the medal. I mean, the medal's just something that you hold. It's the feeling of what you've achieved and how proud you are to have done that at home and have your whole family and friends there watching you, and all the time and the effort you put in and the sacrifices you make. So
that was just a symbol of all your hard work, you feel?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I know, do you reckon that was like a massive stepping stone for where women's water polo is today, that gold medal in the Olympics? Because I know a lot of women's sports have, recently they've achieved something amazing that's been a stepping stone to, to more players, more coverage, more this and that. Do you think that gold medal game that you guys played in was a big factor?
Definitely. We got a lot of coverage being at home and winning a gold medal, of course. So I think after that, the amount of kids playing just escalated, and all that. So, and all of a sudden everyone knew what water polo was. So that was, for a really small profile sport, it really increased the profile and more kids were playing. So it was a definite stepping stone. And then we went on to win a bronze medal in 2008 and a bronze medal in 2012 after I retired. So we've got 3 medals now, Olympic Games, which is great.
Have you still remained in water polo since you retired? Like, obviously you say you have the job now and you were in Tokyo. Did you go to Rio? You went to London as well?
Oh, no, I didn't go to any of those. I've been working at Australian water polo for about 5 years. So I just, my kids play and I've coached and done all those things. But I guess, I just started working officially back in water polo 5 years ago, which is great. I really enjoy it. And it's kind of a different thing for me to work with the national team as to, with my local club. It's very different. And I kind of keep the two separate, if you know what I mean.
Kind of like what you were saying about, after that game, having so many kids and water polo kind of like being on the map. Did that kind of like after you retired influence you to, start coaching kids? Because you've coached me for like 5-6 years. We've had our goods and our bads and our twists and turns. But was that kind of like a motivating factor, that water polo is on the map that you want to start coaching?
Oh, no, I guess just because my kids started playing and I couldn't help myself. I couldn't, if someone else came along and coached, I probably would have been frustrated and I couldn't say what I wanted to say and I couldn't help how I wanted to help. So, and I wanted to help the kids that age play because my kids were playing and I was interested in it again. And I did have a bit of a break away from water polo, which you definitely need after it's been so intense. So I just kind of picked it up again when I guess I started coaching your group, which is when you were about 14, I guess. Was it 13,
that's it. We were the younglings. The younglings, that's it.
But I loved it and I was so proud of the team that your team and Joel's team, which I coached. It was great.
So does it bring you joy now seeing your kids play the sport that you grew up playing and they enjoy it as well?
I do. I can't believe that all 3 of them love it so much, to be honest.
Runs in the family, as you said.
Other ex-players, some of their kids don't play or they might go do something else, but all my kids just love water polo.
Did you have an influence? You're like, I got to get my kids to play water polo?
No, I feel like everyone must think I'm forcing them or something. They just love it.
It's in the blood.
That's it. It is in the blood. So I know that. So as a team player of water polo and basketball, being amongst a team, you have your greats together, you have your downs together. Has your 2000 women's Olympic water polo team, have you guys stuck together or have you all kind of like gone your separate ways? Like how's that now?
Well, we still catch up. So we've had a couple of reunions, like our 10-year anniversary reunion. I think we had a 15-year and then we unfortunately couldn't have our 20-year because of COVID. So we had a Zoom catch up, which was really annoying. And actually I caught up with some of them last night. I think they were so excited about watching the Tokyo games and they've all got something to say, of course. So we had a bit of a Zoom catch up last night, which is fun. So we definitely keep in contact and have a laugh still about the good old days.
Awesome.
Awesome. No, that's it. And I mean, so obviously I've been a part of water polo since I was quite young and, it's always good to see people who have achieved a massive success, coming down to teach, the younger kids in water polo. And do you think for me, I think that the water polo community now it's very family oriented. It's a very small community, but everyone loves it and everyone appreciates each other. Do you reckon that's the same case?
The same case now?
Yeah, because I know that like with basketball, it's a little bit more spread out. There's more politics, but I feel like with the water polo community, it's more of like a family because we're a smaller sport kind of thing.
It is. I guess the clubs all have their sort of families attached to them who've been there through a few generations. So it's definitely a bit of a family affair. And for some reason, I think people love it and they don't want to let it go. So they keep coming back to the club, especially at Balmain Club. We have such a social club. And when Dawn Fraser Pool's open, we have a great barbecue area and it's really family friendly and everyone really enjoys it. So it's a really nice part of our game.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Are they doing massive renovations of Dawn Fraser Pool? Is that the one or is
it's finally finished. So
really?
When COVID stops it, finally finishes, it'll be open. So that's really exciting.
Was it like open water pool or something? Like, isn't it? Is that?
Yeah, it's a harbour. It's a pool in the harbour.
That's the one. How deep is it?
Yeah. There's like a shallow part and then it goes quite deep. Like you can't stand it. It'd be over 2 meters.
Yeah.
At high tide, it's really deep, and then low tide, it's probably about just over 2 meters.
Yeah, of course. It's in a good spot.
I mean, I know. I want to ask your opinion on this because obviously it's been A big thing for me, I am a extremely white fella who plays in the sun all the time in just Speedos. And I know that I've definitely had a lot of incidences where teams will complain that I'm wearing too much sunscreen or I'm too slippery and all this kind of stuff. And I definitely understand that. But in Australia, because we have such a high level of sun and skin cancer, what do you think that's like for water polo, just being such a exposed sport to the sun?
I think it's ridiculous that they penalise people for wearing sun cream, and especially in someone with skin like yours. Like when you got pulled up a few times for that, I was so furious. Honestly, it's ridiculous. It's in our country where skin cancer is so common. I think it's crazy. And I mean, it's one thing to be out there with baby oil on, and it's different when you know that people need to be wearing sun cream.
What, does it give you an advantage or something? Sunscreen?
Well, it like makes you really slippery. Okay. So it's really hard to grab onto you.
Oh, okay.
Playing. So it happened at the Olympics, actually, when Australia was playing Kazakhstan. The Kazakhstan guy was slippery. It was indoors, and he got a red card for the game.
No way.
But I understand it's indoors, but when you're outdoors in our country, I think it's crazy, and you should be allowed to wear sun. I mean, I think there's certain sun creams I think you can wear that are less slippery. But yeah.
Because I mean, I would have to, me and my mum, we'd have to go shopping, like a week before the tournament to find the grippiest sunscreens possible. We'd have a whole week of just testing to find out which one was grippy, which one was non-slippery. But I mean, it's just kind of, it's quite strange, to have all these young kids saying, oh no, you're not allowed to wear sunscreen, and then sending them in a Speedo for 6-7 hours in a competition in the broad daylight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Bronwyn, when you were in the 2000 Olympics and you won gold, did you get gold before the men got gold, or the men got gold before then?
The men's water polo.
Never. Yeah, have they never got gold? Oh wow. No. Sure, that felt amazing for you. First year in the Olympics, women's water polo team, and you win gold.
Yeah, we were pretty lucky. It was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as you said, obviously there were less teams, but still you were obviously. It was very tight.
Every game's hard still. Like it's
Oh, for sure.
It's still a lot of pressure. But no, I think I won't say it actually. I'm not sure the best we've done Olympic Games. I think it might be fifth.
Yeah. Okay.
In the men's.
In the men's.
Yeah.
Well, I know obviously we're talking about the Balkan countries there. Crazy over there. Is that not as much in the women's? It's more like it's dominated by the men, the Balkan countries.
The strange thing is that in Serbia, Montenegro, Croatia, I think their women only started playing a couple of years ago, which I think is really
wow.
So they don't get the same.
I think they're a little bit more conservative and stuff with that sort of stuff. The men being given more opportunities, and
I think it's pretty sad actually. I think they don't get the funding or any attention, and the men get everything. So they've only just started out. So maybe in the future they'll be good. I don't know, but they don't seem to get enough attention. So, but Hungary are very good. Hungary and Russia have always been good. It's more that Serbia, Montenegro, Croatia that don't play. And Spain are good as well.
How does that make you feel that it was so late that only women got an opportunity to participate in the Olympics with water polo? 2000, I mean.
It was. I actually thought it would never happen when I was playing. To be honest, it was really.
Really?
We were really hoping. So I was in the team in '96. So if women's water polo were in the Olympics in '96,
you would have been in the '96 team as well.
Would have been in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was pretty disappointing, and we were fighting for it for a long time. There was a group really lobbying to get us in, and we only found out we got into Sydney like a couple of years before the Olympics because we were lobbying so hard, and it was so unfair. They were trying to say the equivalent to they had men's water polo and the equivalent in female synchronized swimming, which nothing against synchronized swimming, but it's not the same sport.
Completely different sport. Yeah.
So it was a really sexist thing going on there, and we lobbied really hard, and we got in. So very proud that we did that, and we got to play in the first.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how far women's sport's gone in such a short period of time.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And Australian women are so good at sport, as you just saw it.
100%. I mean,
you have the girls dominating the world, getting the gold medals. You have Ash Barty, the best women's tennis player in the world. You have, the Australian women's basketball team is incredible as well, and our track athletes. It's very how can I say it? It really just goes to show how they're so good, but you guys have only had such a short period of time to, be in the Olympics and be in professional sport.
Showcase that. Yeah. I honestly, completely candidly will say this, that the women's swimming was by far my favorite to watch the Olympics. They are so incredibly talented. And it's I mean, anybody who goes to the Olympics is talented, and it's good that, like, obviously women are getting more opportunities now in the sport, because as you were saying once before, I mean, like, look at you, Bronwyn. I wouldn't have you a day over 40, and you were in the Australian women's team, and you weren't even participating in the '96 Olympics. So to think 20 years later how far it's come, surely just as a woman, it makes you proud.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And the women were amazing at these Olympics, and Jess Fox and the rowers and the high jumping, and it was so great to watch.
Yeah. So you went to multiple events, like you weren't just like in the pool the whole time. You were.
No, we were at the pool. We weren't allowed to because of COVID. You're only allowed to go to your sport. But we had the same as you guys. We were watching it all on 7.
Okay.
7 Plus online. And back in the village, they had big screens around, and we'd all watch it together.
So there was always coverage. Yeah.
It was always coverage. We were watching everything, and then after the events, the athletes would come back in, and everyone would cheer them on and whatever. So it was really fun.
So awesome. It was just a very Australian-centric kind of apartment block where all of you guys were in there together.
Oh yeah. It was all decorated, and we had a whole lot of catering in there, so you didn't have to go to the food hall so often. And it was we had a big kangaroo and emu out the front, and our own area to sit together. So
is that how it works in the Olympics? You kind of have like your whole village just for the country?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you have buildings pretty much for each country, or some buildings would have a few countries in it, and you'd have your own sort of common area and meeting rooms and a medical center and all those things.
Wow. Wow. Has that changed a lot since 2000, or has it always kind of been that way?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, it was the same back then. Each country would have their area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even in 2000, because I know that you're from Sydney, did you guys have to stay in the accommodation that they gave out, or could you just, drive home and drive to the event?
No, you had to stay in the village.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to, and you want to, because it's fantastic.
Yeah,
no, 100%.
Obviously, I mean, you went to Sydney, Bron, but you also went to Athens.
Yeah.
How was it like being in a completely foreign country? Was it more difficult for you, or was it more exciting for you?
No, it was great. I really wanted to go to an Olympics in another country because I'd done the one at home.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Athens was a blast. It was so good. Athens is a great city, and it was really exciting to be there. My family and everyone came over, so it was a really fun time.
Oh, awesome.
And when it finished, we went to the islands and had a
great trip. Of course,
so,
you got all the Greek islands there. Bit of an incentive.
Yeah.
So, Bronwyn, obviously, growing up and playing water polo, completely different sport than how it is now. I know obviously a lot's changed. What sort of advice would you give any young kid playing water polo if you could go back to the young Bronwyn just starting out? What would you say to her? Give her some pointers.
I think just swim. You have to swim.
Yeah.
I think one of those things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
It hurts. But it actually makes you play so much better, and it's this battle that you have with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think just training hard and putting in the effort when you're training, because that makes you play so much better, and it really helps you get to where you're going to be. You can't cut corners is probably what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So for any sport, dedication is key.
It's dedication. It's probably something I didn't do enough was stretch and look after my core. Like my back's quite bad now from all the water, and my shoulders just started to get bad. So I think just doing all the boring stuff.
Look after your body.
Yes. Rehab and core and swimming hard and training and stretching, and what you eat, all those things really help where you're going to go. You're not going to make it if you don't go to training and you don't put effort in. And I guess another advice is, listen to your coaches. It's really annoying for coaches to be with a team who aren't listening to you, laughing, going underwater, which I know when you're kids it's fun and that's what happens. And I always had a laugh coaching kids. Like, you have to have a laugh, but at the same time, it's only for 2 hours or an hour and a half of training. Just listen to your coaches and they're trying to teach you something. They're not saying it for no reason.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I feel you. And I mean, like, I know, how would you, like, how do you feel now, being one of the first, women's teams to be able to lobby for, the coverage that you guys got being able to play in the Olympics? How do you feel now that, it's come so far and, like, where women's water polo is today?
Yeah, no, I'm just really proud of our sport, and so nice. I guess when we went to Sydney, we felt strange being at the Olympics. It was our first time, and I felt really shy, whatever. And to see our team go into the Olympics now, and everyone know who the water polo girls are, and everyone knows they're a medal contender, and I'm just really proud of that our sport has such a good reputation, and to see how far it's gone and how many schools it's played in now. I mean, it could go even further. I wish it could. I just feel like we have a lack of pools and pool availability, to be honest.
That's it.
But no, I'm very proud of where it is today, and I hope it keeps growing.
Yeah. Well, you're such a role model, Bronwyn, and it's so good having you on. Just to end off, if you could give any sort of advice to anybody watching, or I know it sounds like very cliche, and Rowan and I always end it this way, but I mean, even if you're comfortable, obviously, to just give us any sort of advice, or anybody who's starting out at water polo, as I said, what would you say to them?
As I said before, just listen to your coaches. Every time you're in the pool, just try your hardest, and I guess when there's anything that gets you down or you don't play well, just keep your head up and keep going, and you'll improve. If you give up, you won't go anywhere. So I guess you've just got to roll with the punches. I guess if something you have a loss, or you play badly, or you shoot a goal and you lose the game because of you've just got to try and put it behind you and focus on the next thing that you can do to make your next game better.
Beautiful. Awesome. Perfect advice. Well, Bronwyn, thanks so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure, picking the brain of a gold medalist. But no, we really appreciate you coming on, and we will, show some clips about her experience in the Olympics as well. But guys, thanks so much for watching another episode of Taking It Easy podcast. Take care and peace.
Bye.
Thank you.